Am I the asshole for telling my sister that literally anyone can get knocked up? I'm a medical resident with no kids, my sister is a mom with no jobs. I don't judge women who stay home with their kids, but kids simply are not for me and it would drive me crazy to live with them. My sister on the other hand has a son, and to be fair to her, he's a great kid who's really smart and bright. However, he is her whole identity. She's constantly bragging about her son and her only personality these days is being a boy mom. I was in town so I joined my sister for dinner at our parents' house. My aunt was also there, nephew was crashed upstairs, and my parents were telling her how proud they were of my residency placement, very competitive field, difficult to get into. My aunt made an offhand comment and asked my sister if she's going back to school. My sister said, "No, we all have our talents. Op can study all day, but she could never handle being a mother with fertility issues. She would find it as difficult as I would find med school." I'm paraphrasing, but you get the point. I was annoyed, because my sister has this sense of superiority around being a mother while I'm not one. She basically was saying I would be a bad mother if I was one, and that the 8 years I spent in hell devoid of free time is nothing compared to having unprotected sex and facing the consequences. So I said something bitchy back. Literally anyone can get knocked up, and being a good mom is literally the bare minimum. It seems like you don't realize how hard I fucking worked. My sister left the table, aunt left early, and parents are pretty upset that my sister and I ruined dinner. However, I've put up with her looking down on me for not being a Stepford wife for years. Am I the asshole? Edit. I absolutely did not mean to make a dig at my sister's fertility issues. I wasn't thinking in that mindset at all and didn't realize that it could be taken that way. I really just wanted to tell her that I don't think our jobs are of equal difficulty. Edit 2. Thank you guys seriously for helping me make the connection in understanding why my words were so hurtful. I didn't even realize I made a dig at her infertility, and I've been in bed crying and reflecting because I feel like a mega asshole. Right now I'm formulating an apology and I'm going to go talk to her. No, we all have our talents. Op can study all day, but she could never handle being a mother with fertility issues. She would find it as difficult as I would find med school. What backhanded snide bullshit. Not the asshole. Women with fertility issues that act like this give all the others a bad name. You're both dismissive and jealous of one another, and dinner with y'all sounds unpleasant. Info. What was the sister's reference to fertility issues about? Did your sister have problems that made it really hard to conceive and carry her son? You said anyone can get knocked up, but that's not true. I wonder if the sister had a history of infertility (IVF) miscarriages b.c. that would affect how I see the situation. Your sister for making her mom life seem more important than your med life. Everyone has their talents and she could have just ended it there instead of condescendingly saying you'd never be able to handle it. But you could have just said, we will never have the same goals and that's fine, but you shouldn't talk down about my life choices as I won't about yours. No, not everyone can get knocked up, and no, being a good mom is not the bare minimum. I do not ever want children personally and wouldn't want someone who made their life being a mom to feel bad about it. You both lead very different and difficult lives and you guys might never face the same challenges. You both need to understand that. I'm a medical resident. And #X200B. Literally anyone can get knocked up. Are you sure about that? I'm not a medical resident, but even I know more than half the people in the world literally cannot get knocked up. You are the asshole. Jesus Christ, not everyone can get knocked up. That's absolutely cruel to say to someone with fertility issues. Not the asshole. A good mom, yours, would have stepped in before the dinner was ruined, and really, one spat should not ruin a dinner. You clearly look down on your sister who does work hard too and judge stay-at-home moms hardcore despite saying you don't. She did not just get pregnant, not an achievement, but she looks after kids full-time and that's exhausting and very difficult. But she seems to look down on you for not being a mom and working in the medical field, especially all that success is also very hard work. Your ideas of life may be different, but guess what? Neither of you is better or worse than the other, and as grown adult you should learn that. Everyone sucks here. Your sister was unnecessarily snarky about your skills, but you seem to be really dismissive of parenthood. She said she couldn't do your job, and you said you couldn't do hers, so she's not wrong. Get over your need to be worshipped, be grateful that you have a career you love, and celebrate that you don't have to deal with the headaches and stress of parenting. Meanwhile, accept that your sister can be grateful she has a family she loves and didn't have to deal with the years of stress around school. Everyone sucks here. You literally said you could not live with them. Is she not right? You are the asshole. You literally said in your post you couldn't handle being a mom. You literally knock your sister in your post for being a som. Then you say that she needled you, while you couldn't even not be cruel in your post about her. Is getting into med school great? Yes. Hell yeah it is, you go, girl. But your sister was absolutely right to point out that everyone has different skills, particularly when it sounds like your aunt was intentionally getting a dig in at her as it stands. YTA. Not only for the dig at her fertility, but she literally said she'd find med school hard, so even her insult was just in your head. You were both catty and passive-aggressive. Be happy and supportive of each other's lives instead. Yes, anyone can get knocked up. But it takes heart and effort to be a good mother and raise a good kid, which your sister has done where many other mothers have failed. You told someone with secondary infertility that literally anyone can have a baby. I thought doctors were supposed to be compassionate. You both sound as bad as each other. You are the asshole. You sound extremely elitist, and no, not everyone can get knocked up. Shouldn't a medical student know that not just anybody can get pregnant? You are the asshole. With your attitude towards parenthood, I wonder why she has a chip on her shoulder about this. Also, serious dick move by your aunt to interrogate her about her career plans right after your parents praised you on your career. You are the asshole. While sister was obnoxious to you in response to what sounds like being made to feel less than from parents, aunt, you brought a nuclear weapon in response to a BB gun insult. Can you imagine how often your sister must get that what you do is not enough, passive-aggressive BS? Her response was in essence, "Op is not better than me," to which your response was in essence, "Your accomplishments are nothing. Of course I'm better than you. Everyone sucks here literally. No, not anyone can get pregnant. And you should know that with your background. Sigh, medical personnel with this mindset make being infertile literal hell. Your sister is in mom mode. She may never leave that mindset until reality crashes down around her ears. She's obviously threatened by you, but you went double barrel after her. That wasn't the appropriate time or way to say that, even if it felt good in the moment. Sister clearly has her own issues. I'm going with everyone sucks here because you both keep comparing your choices to one another, but you are both comparing apples to oysters. They are fundamentally different with their own inherent merits and challenges. Has your family always compared you to each other and created this dynamic that you continue to live out? Or is this new info? Are you sure your sister feels superior about being a mom, and not just excited about being a mom? Has she actually ever said anything to you that puts you down for not being a mom? Have you been open about your feelings in regard to parenthood? While I do know there is a lot of shaming of people who don't want to become parents, I also know not everyone does that. But if you are expecting to be shamed for that, you might be looking for an attitude that just isn't there. A lot of the negativity I am reading is from your interpretation of what she said, rather than what she actually said. If you don't want to be a mom, it is very unlikely you will be a good one. It's hard to be a good mom even while wanting to be one. It was very rude of her to say, however, it was said due to her own insecurities. A more appropriate but still effective response might be, it's not that we would find each other's careers difficult, we would just find no joy in them. You could do medical school, just as I could do being a mom, we just wouldn't want to. This would both placate her ego and correct her rudeness. Not everything has to be a competition. You are the asshole. I stopped reading at, Mom with no job, you are an asshole. Being a mom is not only a job, it's a demanding one that requires a lot of skills, time and effort. And by the way, is completely unpaid. You're a huge asshole. And by the way, if just anyone could get knocked up, there wouldn't be so many people crushed that they can't have children. You're a massive asshole. Who isn't paying attention at med school if you believe just anyone can get knocked up? I just read the rest of your post and I stand by everything I wrote. Massive asshole with important doctor syndrome shining through. You are the asshole. You literally admit in the first paragraph that being a mother would be very difficult for you, you said it would drive you crazy. Your sister was asked a very snide question about going back to school, which probably made her feel very inferior to you, and she defended her choices by explaining that everyone has their own strong suits and accomplishments. She was right, you are good at your job but probably would be bad at being a mother, and she is the opposite, and yet she is the only one being targeted and criticized for her choices. You're not better or smarter than she is just because you have different interests and goals. You are the asshole. Being a mother is difficult, and until you have kids, you can't say you'd be a good mother and know it for sure. You don't even want them. She said you both had different strengths and she was right. Get over your need to feel better or more important than your sister. Also, you sound jealous because you spent your youth studying while it seems like she got to have fun and live a little. If you're resentful, go to a therapist. Not anyone can get knocked up. It just does not work that way. Your sister sounds annoying AF, but that was a low blow if you already know she's having fertility issues. Calling her out for her remarks is one thing, but you went further than that. Op is the awe. Similar to your sentiment that, anyone can get pregnant, anyone can study hard enough and long enough to get an accelerated degree. Op isn't God's gift to the world because she spent time pursuing a career in medicine, and her sister isn't either because she had a child. If Op is so against having kids, why did it bother her so much to be told that she would find having children difficult? Op will make a lot of money in her career and be publicly respected as a doctor. Psalms are not paid and not as highly respected in general. Op was really rubbing it in unfairly. Granted, I have fertility issues, so I'm slightly biased, but still. She would find it as difficult as I would find med school. I think she's saying that she knows the both of you, and if you were to switch places, you both would not be able to do what the other did. You are the asshole, I am so sorry to say. But I see you are making an apology, and that is a wonderful thing. I am a career woman, never had kids. There is no way I could have had kids and they'd be alive and thriving today. I couldn't do it because I didn't want to do it. Not the asshole. I don't want children either, and it gets on my nerves when people try to make you feel bad or like you're failing. Everyone sucks here, but I don't blame you for your reaction. You are the asshole. She literally just pointed out that she had fertility issues, meaning it took a lot of work and effort for her to get knocked up. You saying that her pain was nothing and that her life is the bare minimum is cruel. Yeah. The mom versus working women wars are bullshit. Stop pitting women against each other in general, but you were intentionally cruel. NTA, it's those that throw shade who end up in the light. Being a good parent is not something to praise, it's what you are supposed to do. I'm going with nah. While being a good mom or dad should be the bare minimum, it is hard. No question about that. I have 3 and they don't stop. Ever. While I haven't done it, I can imagine training to be a doctor is equally difficult for very different reasons. Also tough. Being nice. Not the asshole. You can't insult someone and expect them to turn the other cheek. You gave as good as you got. Y'all could be more supportive of each other. You guys did ruin dinner with your one-upper attitudes. I hope you guys can eventually have a talk and put all this behind you. You are the asshole. Your sister could have said it differently, but what you said in return was abhorrent. To someone who is struggling to conceive, anyone can get knocked up, is an absolute punch in the gut. Plus, being a good parent is not something that everyone can do. I've worked in childcare and education for years. Not everyone is a good parent, and some people can't do it at all. Just like some people couldn't be a doctor. You are dismissive of parenting, and that in itself makes you an asshole. Not the asshole. Anyone can get knocked up, not anyone can become a doctor. If you base your personality off of anyone one thing, you're a bore and deserve to be roasted for it. Not the asshole. You say this. However, I've put up with her looking down on me for not being a Stepford wife for years. But then you also say this. I really just wanted to tell her that I don't think our jobs are of equal difficulty. Contrast with what she said. No, we all have our talents. Op can study all day, but she could never handle being a mother with fertility issues. She would find it as difficult as I would find med school. You are the asshole. You seem to be the one thinking you're better than her, rather than vice versa. She is saying you have equal value. You're saying you're better than her. Not the asshole. Getting pregnant is not special or unique. Becoming a doctor is a lot harder. You are the asshole. You purposefully said something that would cut your sister's whole identity to shreds because she said, "No, we all have our talents." Op can study all day, but she could never handle being a mother with fertility issues. She would find it as difficult as I would find med school. That you readily admitted to in the opening of the post. Being a good mom isn't the bare minimum that you make it sound, and hard work or not your career may never mean anything to the world that mom means to that lil boy. Good on you for all that you have done to get where you are, but don't shit on your sister for framing your same opinion from her perspective. You are the asshole. And she wasn't wrong. You yourself say you couldn't even imagine being in the house all day with a kid. So her repeating it shouldn't have set you on edge. We don't all have to go to school or medical school to be successful and happy people. But it seems like you feel superior because you have all this academic achievement, whereas she's just a som. And she gets, why don't you go back to school like Op? WTF is wrong with being a som? And why couldn't you have just celebrated your differences in that instance where she was compared to you in a way I'm sure she found offensive? I think you could have said that you have different goals, and if she can't respect that, she should be quiet. I'm a bit annoyed by your comments on anyone can get knocked up, as it's a slap in the face for people who actually can't. Yes, she was rude, but you could have phrased what you said much better. You are the asshole. As a medical professional, you should know fully well that not anyone can literally get knocked up. Shame on you. Not the asshole, but very close to ESH for the anyone can get knocked up comment, because my IVF bills would heartily disagree with that statement. Like, yeah, she's being a snarky, but that was uncalled for. Your sister did start it, but telling someone who is struggling with infertility that anyone can get pregnant is just cruel. I hope she has not suffered pregnancy loss, as well, since that would have made your remarks even more unkind. I think you're simply both failing to understand that both of your vocations are hard, just in different ways, and frankly your fellow med school students who are either pregnant or have young kids at home have it harder than either of you. That goes triple for anyone working with COVID patients. You are the asshole. Your sister's comment seemed fair, especially since you said that kids aren't for you and being a parent would drive you crazy. Being a full-time parent is hard work. She sounded humble about not being qualified for med school. Why not be humble when she's agreeing with your own assessment of your ability to be a parent? You are the asshole for assuming you're the only one who works hard at their chosen path. She likely works as hard at being a good mom as you did to get your degrees. You're no better than she is because you chose the path you did. Get over yourself.